No, I didn't. I haven't heard a thing yet. Do you know something I don't? He stuck his tongue out at me. I know a lot, but whatever. Nice to know I'm a priority, best friend. Bestie, BFF. Come on, give me a break. Is there really a ghost in here right now, Joey? Or did you freak yourself out watching that Amityville horror marathon? Are you actually being threatened, or are you just being extra? He crossed his arms and turned his face away from me. Feeling extra myself, extra aggravated, I dumped my wet clothing on top of him as he moaned again. Disgusting, Tamara! I slammed the dryer door and flipped the switch. Those panties are clean, Joey. If you don't want to talk, you can hang out with my underwear. Otherwise, I'm going to the mailbox. I paused as Joey mumbled something, but since the dryer door was closed and in full operation, I couldn't make out what he was saying. You'll need to come out of there if you want to talk to me. I waited for him to manifest, but he didn't appear. Be a stubborn ass, then. With a sigh, I slid my flip-flops on to make the trek to the mailbox. I noticed the entryway chandelier wobbled a little, and I studied the movement for a moment. Usually it only happened when Chloe had her music up loud, or she and Lynn were working on some dance or God knows what else. There wasn't a soul up there right now, so I had no explanation for it. Nothing else appeared to be moving around. I thought maybe I should break out the EMF detector, just in case. Once the chandelier stopped wobbling, I left the house and made the walk to the mailbox, which was located at the end of the long driveway. It was a hot afternoon, as it always seemed to be in Crystal Springs, Louisiana. Falls and winters weren't very cool here from what I experienced. It certainly didn't feel like fall. It was November, and the leaves were crunching beneath my flip-flops. The sky was overcast, and I caught myself looking back at the Ridot plantation a few times as I made my way. I don't know what I expected to see in those windows. Perhaps a malevolent face staring down at me from the attic or a second-floor window. A clue as to what was beginning to manifest. Joey was definitely worked up, and I had been having plenty of dreams. Young guy in a hot car, and the feeling of being choked. So weird. Before coming here, I wasn't one to dream much. That had certainly changed. In my limited experience at the Dead House, the name locals gave the Ridot plantation, those top floors were the most haunted. Unless you included Joey's activities as hauntings, which I did not. Most of the time, Joey roamed all over the house, except for Chloe's room. That space was off-limits to everyone unless you wanted to deal with an angry teenager. I couldn't figure out why he'd suddenly decided he wanted his own room. With my hand shielding my eyes against the setting sun, I studied the house again. There was nothing there. No one was watching, and there was nothing to account for the wobbling chandelier. At least there were no ghostly figures or shadow people leering at me. For all I knew, Joey might be having a bit of fun at my expense. He was a prankster at times, but never anything malicious. I wasn't surprised to see my mailbox stuffed with envelopes. There were the usual circulars and unwanted junk mail, and even a letter addressed to my neighbor. Shoot, I'd have to take it to her. The last thing I wanted to do was visit Linda Blabbermouth, as Joey unaffectionately called the nosy neighbor, but I'd have to. Just not right this second. What was up with the mail lady recently? This was the second time this week. I sorted through a few more envelopes, and then paused. I'd received a letter from Bright House Publishing. I submitted my book to them recently. Too recently for this to be a good letter. God, please don't let this be another rejection letter. Have a little faith, Tamara. 13 was always your lucky number. The 13th was the charm, remember? It was strange that my internal voice of encouragement always sounded like my late best friend, Tina Louise.